Hi, this is Wendy from Knitters Brewing, and I'm going to show you how to work this pretzel stitch. This pattern is worked over 5 stitches. It's worked this direction, and it has a 4-row or 4-round repeat. The first round of this pattern is what makes this left-leaning loop that you see every 4 rounds. So I've worked my way up to the 5 stitches that I'm doing this pattern over. For the round 1, we knit the first 2 stitches. Then we're going to knit the next 3 stitches together through the back loops. So insert your needle as if to purl and knit them through the back loop, but don't take them off the needle yet. Go ahead and pull this loop so it's pretty big. Now you do a yarn over, and then you re-knit the first of the 3 loops only. Now we let all 3 of those loops off the left hand. So you can see here's the 2 we knit, and then here's the left leaning loop with the 3 new stitches inside it. Let me do that one more time for you. I have 2 purls between my sets of pretzels, so we'll do those first. Alright, now we're ready to pretzel row 1 here. So we're going to knit 2. Now we're going to knit the next 3 through the back loop, so insert it as if to purl with the yarn and back, wrap, and pull that through all 3, and let it be a big loop. Do a yarn over, and re-knit that first stitch again. Then take them off the needle. Now the one thing I want to show you also as I go through this is what each round looks like when you're done, because sometimes you sit down, you're knitting, and you want to pick it up and look at it to figure out where you're at. And with this stitch pattern, it's a little more complicated than just if you're knitting or purling. So when you've just finished row 1, you'll see that you've got the big loop to the left, and the last stitch is coming directly out of that big loop. All right? So keep that in mind, and we're going to do round 2 now. Round 2 is more simple than round 1. We're going to work these 5 stitches. We're going to knit the first 2, slip the middle one, and then knit the last 2. So knit the first 2, slip the middle one, and you want to do it purlwise in round 2, and then knit the last 2. Alright, I'm going to purl my 2 stitches between my pretzels, and then I'll show you this again. Okay, here's my 5. Knit 2, slip the center stitch or the 3rd stitch purlwise, and then knit the last 2. Now, what does this look like? Looks very similar to row 1. Your most recent long loop is left leaning, but now with your last stitch on your needle, it's not coming directly out of the big loop anymore. Now there's a stitch between the loop on the needle and the big loop. You can see it over here too. Stitch between loop on the needle and the big loop. So that's how you'll know if you pick this up, you just finished round 2. With round 3, we're going to create the right leaning loop, and we're going to do it in a manner that makes it a mirror image to this left leaning loop that we made in round 1. So starting with our 5 stitches, the first thing we're going to do is knit through the center loop only. So with your yarn in the back, you're going to reach across and insert your needle as if to knit, but keep it all on the front of of that big loop and wrap and pull your yarn through, and you're going to leave that original stitch on the left hand needle. Now you're going to do a yarn over, and now you're going to knit those three together. So there's our big right leaning loop of our pretzel. Now we're just going to knit the remaining 2 stitches. So let me purl my 2 dividing stitches, and then we will do this again. All right, so reach across and knit that middle loop through its front loop only. Now do a yarn over. Now knit these 3 stitches together. Now just knit the remaining 2 stitches. So when you've finished row 3 on this pattern, you'll have the opposite of what we had at row 1. Now the most recent big loop is off leaning to the right, and the far stitch on the right is coming directly out of that big loop. So if you see that, you know you just finished row 3. Round 4, we're in the home stretch. Round 4 is very similar to round 2, with one exception about the direction that you slip the center stitch. So first we're going to knit the first 2 stitches in that group of 5, and then we're going to slip the center stitch, but this time we're going to do it as if to knit. So you're going to cross your needle over it and insert it this way to slip it, and then knit the last 2 stitches. Okay, let me do my 2 spacer stitches here. All right, let's do round 4 again. So we're going to knit the first 2, slip the middle one knitwise, and then knit the next 2. And now you've probably caught on to this, but the way you can tell you've done this row is that the last one you did, the last big stitch you've done, is leaning toward the right, and there is 1 stitch between it and the stitch on your needle. So you see that, you know I've just finished round 4. And that is all there is to the pretzel stitch. It's kind of fun.